Hi, I think we're live. Bruce, you ready?
Okay. Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, you're ready. So, welcome to HN. What's your say? We have the honor and privilege of having the one and only Bruce Kelly, our Kelly's blood brother, on here tonight to speak out.
All
He's
right.
got quite a bit to say. I got some questions for him, but welcome, Bruce. We're glad to have you.
Having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Finally, you know. Yeah. So thanks for having me. Really.
Okay, and I know that you got some things that you want to talk about, but I have some
So
questions, just a couple of questions to get some clarification on some things, some questions that some of the subscribers over here at HN What You're Saying have proposed that they would like to have answers to, and have you expound on it better than anyone else, the big brother of R. Kelly. So one of the things that was asked is whether whether you think that your brother R. Kelly is a victim in this case, and if so, why?
could you repeat it? Whether what? I didn't. The last part you
Uh,
kind of
okay, so the question
was
is,
fuzzy.
okay, the
Whether
question
Robert
is
was what?
whether you consider your brother Robert a victim in this case, and why?
Well, I mean, from the very beginning, I could really go back some years ago. I just wasn't really comfortable with a lot of the company that Robert kept. Of course, he's a superstar living a rock star life. So
Mm-hmm.
you have a lot of people coming into his circle that had ulterior motives to be there, and it was always about money and people seeing him living such a a fabulous lifestyle, always traveling, always having nice things, staying in nice hotels, and doing videos and all that stuff. You know, they they think that everything's glorious, but if anyone can remember when like in his song, I wish, he said he traded all in
Wow.
just to have one, just, I mean, not uh, I wish, but I think that was to my homies. No, that is I wish. I traded all in just to have one ride, just to get one ride with you. People look at you and think you've been blessed, but they don't see the inside of your unhappiness.
Sure.
So
Mm-hmm.
way and that was back in the 90s, some things and stuff, whether it be with the people that were around him, his management, you know, Robert is not crazy. So he knew a lot of things were going wrong and going on with things, as far as his business and stuff. And me, I'm just really realizing, here of late, that he was having really financial difficulties way back then, and he shouldn't have had any difficulties because he was generating a lot of money, especially back in the 90s. Experiencing and stuff. I learned here late that he stayed on tour so he could make lots of money because the that he made
Hmm.
on tour had nothing to do with his record label or anything like that. Anything that he made on tour, him being a victim though, yeah, I truly think that he has been a victim of people that he had in his circle, people that he trusted and thought that loved him, as well as the government. So, I've never ever seen anything like the documentary that Michael Jackson did. It was a 5.5 hour documentary where Michael was talking about, he made it perfectly clear. He said Sony was the devil. That's exactly what that's just how he put it. Sony is the devil. And the things that he was talking about in that documentary, I was I was astounded. I mean, I watched it from the beginning to the end, 5.5 hours, because it intrigued me so much because the things that he was saying in this documentary was things that was happening to my brother,
Hmm.
and it was such a surreal experience to watch this documentary that Mike warned. He was giving a warning not just to Robert but anybody in the industry who he thought might be next.
Right. So
So
he's seen it coming.
absolutely
He's seen it
Robert is a
coming. Yeah.
victim.
Hmm.
And it's really hard to sit back and look at what's going on because him being found guilty of some of the things that he was found guilty, especially in New York. Um, some of those in the world, could he be found guilty on those charges when there was no of
Uh-huh. I
like
I have
kidnapping? Come on, really? Kidnapping?
mhm.
You know,
I have a
when Robert was
question
going
for
through that trial, everybody know I was locked up at that time. But I stayed connected with people who was covering and you know finding out what's going on with the trial and everything like that. They would let me know, huh?
they're saying the sound is bad. Maybe we can take a second. Can you hear me, Bruce?
Yeah. So
Can we take a second and maybe you go
I
out and come
uh
back
I, I
in?
would find out different things and so forth about what was going on and me, being locked up myself at that time. I felt totally helpless and it's not. Yeah, I hear you.
The sound, they said the sound is bad, so I don't know if we want to try it again or if you want, to go out and come back in. I mean, we can try it for a
What do we
second.
what do we need to do?
You sound better now, so let's see if maybe someone in the chat, if they can tell us if you can hear Bruce okay. I know there's a little delay in when you come on, when you're speaking, but let's see. We'll continue and then we'll see if there's a if
Okay.
there's a need for you to come back. So
Well,
one of
I
the things,
mic down.
can you hear me? Can you hear me, Bruce?
Yeah, but you chopping up. Can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
hear you. Can you hear me? Okay?
Okay. So
Sasha?
okay. I I I had a question and you were talking, so I think maybe it was the mic or something was and I will mute when you start to speak and maybe that will help. But I had a question when you were speaking about, the jury and the kidnapping and some of the charges in New York. And as
Yeah.
also as it relates to that you had been there and maybe for some of the people over here, they don't realize that you were his tour manager for years, so you witnessed a lot of things, a lot of history. You were right along with your brother and seen a lot of things, seen, and questioned a lot of things. And in hindsight, have more questions, and maybe some of those intuitions that you had about certain people, now you see a little bit differently. If you can talk about that a little bit. And about the jury, if you think that the jury in New York and the jury in Chicago got it wrong, like you started to speak about the kidnapping, he was not convicted of kidnapping, and obviously that was somebody's perspective on what he could be charged with, because a girl decided to stay in a room or whatever it is. But I know you have some feelings about some of what he was charged with, and how the jury may have gotten that wrong. If you can speak on that.
Well, I mean, my my views is more so toward the 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 judge. The judge gives the jury instructions, on things, as far as them deliberating the outcome of these cases, and 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 it was, to me, it seemed like it was all fashioned for a guilty outcome. You know, her not letting certain things in, or putting, people putting things out there, just, was put on deaf ears, with the judge, because no matter what, it seemed like no matter what type of evidence they came up with, she was going to shoot it down, especially if it was something that was favorable for the defense. So that that let me know right there that, to me, this whole fight was fixed. The government had a hard on for Robert, and no matter what the defense did, I think the outcome would have been the same. But I think it would have been an even better chance, at least, if he would have had a team of lawyers that were fighting for him. Because from my understanding, even though I wasn't there, I have a lot of people that were telling me what went on in that courtroom, and for some of the lawyers to be doing the things that they did in the courtroom, he would have did better to me with a public defender. I'm sorry, but
Don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. I think you're correct. And I want to say something about New York as well. What was your feeling as far as them, only calling so few defense witnesses? What do you think about that? Do you think that or do you think that there was other people who wanted to speak out, who were willing to testify on behalf of your brother?
I'm pretty sure that there could have been a lot of people that would have testified on his behalf, and why they didn't call more people or put on a better defense than they did. I'm not going to say that I don't know why they didn't do that, because it's clear to me that they did not want another outcome. And I told some people that, when I found out what the verdict was, that he could this is definitely a ineffective assistant of counsel case, because they were very ineffective as counsel. These are lawyers who graduated the bar, who graduated law school. And you mean to tell me you couldn't have asked better questions, or been more specific with the charges, and talk about the things that he was being charged with? I simply don't understand. I just don't understand why those lawyers did. And I mean, prime example, you're an attorney. This is a very high profile case. How do you say in your opening statement, you got to find my client guilty? You don't make mistakes like that. You don't put that in a, and Nicole Becker said that,
Unbelievable.
You don't make mistakes like that. You put that in the juror's head from the beginning, and you're his attorney. You know, so those type of things, for things like that, they are totally ignoring Robert's rights and his whole due process. You know, how in the world does an employee of the BOP access his personal phone records and sell them to a blogger that compromises the whole case right there? And nothing is
Right.
being done.
And nothing
And
is
and
being
we
said about that either. Go ahead, Bruce. I'll come in after you finish. Before you get to another topic, let me say something about that. But go ahead, finish
yeah.
what you were saying.
No, you go ahead. I just wanted to put that out there
I'm glad
because
you brought that up.
you know
Because yeah, people, I know that people are wondering, and we see it around where people are asking questions. If anyone has heard anything as to what happened with the woman, was there any punishment for her, the government official who actually leaked his, got into his private information, um, and leaked his emails and phone conversations out to the public. We understand that what was said was that she took an early retirement, and that's the end of it. Whatever happened with that being investigated, and does the public not have a right to know what happened with that? Was his phone calls compromised with his attorney, with Attorney Greenberg or Attorney Leonard at the time? I know that I remember an interview seeing Attorney Leonard on saying that if that was proven to be true, it was grounds for immediate dismissal. So why is the public not outraged that this man did not get, your brother did not get privacy with his attorney while this case was barely, uh, you know, barely in court yet? And he would have been meeting with his attorneys, and I would imagine it was during COVID that they were meeting by phone. So were those compromised? Were his calls with his attorneys compromised? I remember Attorney Leonard saying that if that was found to be true, if it was investigated to be true, it would be immediate grounds for dismissal of some of these charges because he has a right to that privacy. And so I just wanted to comment on you bringing that up, that we don't hear anything more about that. And I think the public wants to know what happened with that.
exactly. And the thing is, they don't want the public to know. You know, you don't hear about anything in the media unless it's something negative on Robert's behalf. You know, if it's anything that could possibly clear him or exonerate him in any way, they keep it hush. And that I just don't understand. Robert is he's a human being. He's a father, and he's a citizen of the United States. Why are we treating him like he's a third world citizen? I don't, I simply don't get that. You know, um, it's really painful for me to even talk about this because we're talking about my brother, you know, my blood relative coming out the same womb and struggling, coming up together, you know. So it's really hard to see the way that they're doing him, and there's nothing that I can do, but voice my opinion and try to get the message out there to as many people as I can to let them know that, I don't understand how the justice system is out to, um, create justice, but it's like they breaking the law themselves, trying to bring somebody down. Now,
Mm-hmm.
what is that? I thought this was one of the greatest countries in the world.
Right.
You know, people flock here to come live here. This is what they want to come live in.
Mm-hmm.
a justice system that is, has a set of rules for some people and another set of rules for other people,
Mhm. Well, the
you
problem
know.
is mostly what was put out, just like you said, by the media, it was all negative, all leaning towards your brother being a monster and this and that. It was all negative. And so if the public is all hearing all of that and they don't hear from, people that are close to him, people that actually were there, people who actually could say that they witnessed that some of these things were untrue or it was a totally different people see it as a totally different perspective, and it would have taken people to come out and talk about that, but it's really one-sided. Somebody did ask if you could spell your mother's first and last name. They're interested in that. How do you spell your
Uh,
mother's first and last name?
my mother's last name is the same spelling as ours.
Okay, and
Jennkelly. Joanne Kelly.
okay. All right. And then another, back to the New York trial, another question that has come up is if you feel that attorney Nicole Becker served as his attorney well in the New York case, did she serve your brother well, or how do you feel about that situation with Nicole Becker?
That, I'm sorry, but that was a debacle because um, how can she be Robert's attorney and uh, Azriel Clary's attorney at the same time? That's a conflict of interest right there. So no, not at all. What type of what kind of stuff is that? No, you just don't make those kind of mistakes. I'm sorry, you just don't do that, especially when somebody's life is on the line. This man's fighting for his life.
Right.
It's
And
like they.
uh, Bruce, someone had said that that Nicole Becker did not show up the day of the verdict. Are you aware of that, or is there any truth to that?
Yeah, I am aware of that. That's why it's like she already knew what the outcome was going to be. So why be there? And like I said, to me, it was if the whole team to me was on the same page. They just didn't seem like they were experienced enough to handle this type of high profile case. Or they are experienced enough, but they just didn't give it that oomph that was
Mhm.
needed in order.
Do you
Go
think
ahead.
the judge could have made a better decision regarding um, the the splitting of the legal team and bringing Mr. Canik on and still pushing forward for the trial to go on, even though he only had a few short weeks with the case? Do you think that that was ample time for him to study this case that they've been uh, putting together for 20 years or so? Do you think that was ample time to bring him in and have the case go forward, or should they have delayed it to give him time to research and study the case and investigate things and get a witness list together?
Of course, they should have given him time, but that was the furthest thing from the judge's mind is to give them time to prepare, um, you know, for prepare his defense. They did not want him to prepare defense, and that's clear. You know, they
Wow.
didn't. How in the world is Robert on trial, basically for his life? Because 30 years, that's a life sentence. How is he on trial for his life, and you're not included in the process of selecting the jury?
Mm-mm.
I mean, you know, any good attorney is going to want their client right next to them when they're selecting the jury. I've been to trial myself a couple of times, and every time I've been to trial, I sat through that process. No, I had input. No, no, not them. No, not her. Not him. Yeah, her. Selecting and giving my opinions on who not to get. That's your given right to do that. And that was taken from him.
Right.
Like he don't even matter. And that's what kills me with this whole thing. Like it's almost as if, I mean, oh my God. Okay, Robert a rock star. You know what I'm saying? He's just like every musician, every other musician out there that lives that life, traveling and living good. It's like they angry about that because they can't do it. You know, they not doing that. They not having a good time doing the things that they love to do. Do you really love being in a courtroom every day? Rather than like say, for say Robert and other entertainers being able to fly all over the place and go to exotic places, on whims, on a whim, you know.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
I think about those things and but in the courtroom that don't matter. It's like um they're taking stuff out on him, that I mean, like Robert has not committed a murder. You got some people who committed murders who has not gotten sentences like Robert has got. And even though he got that sentence, I'm not worried about it because I have total confidence in Jennifer Bongine and this appeal process because there was a lot of mistakes made in the New York trial and with the defense attorneys and so forth. So um, I have total
Do you,
confidence in the appeals process on that case. So
Mhm.
even though it sounds crazy, 30 years, and a lot of people saying, "Oh, he got 30 years," like they think he's gonna do that. No, I'm not. I'm not. I don't even process that. I'm not even processing 30 years with Robert. You know, he's coming home. He's coming home. People can believe what they want to. But
Mhm.
I have faith in that man upstairs.
Mhm.
And I don't believe that he's going to let them just railroad him into the penitentiary and for the rest of his life. You
Mhm.
know,
Bruce, what do you
so
think about Mr. Canik coming in? Do you think that that was part of, there's rumors out there that he was sent in or a group of people got him together, or do you think, I mean, without, I don't want you to, I mean, if you don't feel like you want to state anything on the attorney specific, but somebody asked if you felt that Canik was part of a takedown, if you could speak on that.
I'm gonna say it like this: Canik came in on a Titanic, and he the ship did just exactly what it did on its maiden voyage. It sank with my brother on it. That's the only thing I can say. You know,
Wow.
so
Wow.
that's how I feel. Kenny
Hmm.
came in on a Titanic and he was the captain of the ship
Hmm.
and the ship sank.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's how I feel. I'm not going to get into the specifics. That to me, the whole team, that team, I'm sorry, was like five or six stooges. You
Hmm.
know, how do you do that with somebody's life?
Right.
You know,
Another question about the New York case, if you could speak on it. somebody is asking if you can state, in your opinion, why that none of the alleged victims who named other people said they were sleeping with whoever, this person, that person, actually named people saying they were, having group sex, whatever they stated. Why, in your opinion, do you think that they let those statements be made, but they were not, none of those people were, brought into court? The prosecutors didn't bring any of them in.
Well, simply because of this. Whether the statements were true or false, they really don't care about those other people. That's what it looks like to me. Only they got who they want, you
I
know.
see.
So
I see.
this was this was a to me this was a witch hunt. This has been a witch hunt from the days of Jim Derogatis, you know.
Wow.
Um, and people have had it. It's like they've had it in for Robert for quite some time now. And oh my God, I can go through a lot of I can go through a lot of names and so forth that that I believe that was involved in this whole thing with from the making of surviving R. Kelly and things that led up to him being arrested. So um, it can go back. I can go back with lots of names and so forth, but it's ridiculous. I mean, for so many people to be after one man,
Right.
and
Right.
Robert had a very, and not I'm not gonna say had. He still has an impact. He still has an impact on the industry, even though he's locked up. It and it's nothing that they can do because they feel like because Robert is locked up and because he was found guilty, everybody needs to stop playing his music. And guess what? That's not gonna happen. That ain't never gonna happen. He's planted a seed that's gonna grow forever. As long as his material is out here in this world, it ain't nothing that they can do about it. You can say what you want to say. People gonna play his music. I'm gonna forever play his music. You know,
Right. There's
I'm
no stopping
going
it.
to hear new music from him. You know,
Hmm.
yes.
Yeah. One thing I would like to ask is if you could do something for your brother, anything at all, uh, what would that be? What could you do for R. Kelly? What would your wishes be for your brother Robert Kelly?
Well, to be totally honest, Sasha, the the most important thing right now is to keep him strong. You know, is to keep his spirits up and
Mm,
um, just let him know that he still have a lot of people out here that love and support him.
absolutely.
Regardless
Absolutely.
of I'm sorry.
I said, absolutely, there are. There's a lot of strong support, not just in the United States, but in the UK, all over the world. There's a lot of support. There's a lot of people over here on this channel that I know that support this channel that want nothing more than but to support him, his family. Question constantly, how are things moving forward with the appeal? Do we know anything more about the appeal? What's going to happen? Free R. Kelly, please release him. There's a lot of supporters, real supporters, and then
Yeah,
there, you know, I know that being the big brother, you're out here speaking on his behalf, and there's people that are questioning, that I know you weren't at the New York trial, but another thing that was brought up was that there was a handful of friends that were at the New York trial, some of his closer friends were there, and I don't know that they were there the whole time, but and then the god sister of your brother had wanted to speak out, and I believe that she was sick at the time, so she was willing to speak on video at that time, and she wasn't called by the defense. Can you speak on that? I mean, they would not, I don't know if it was the judge that refused to have her speak, or do you know anything about that? Because, she had been in touch with the attorneys and was planning to speak, is my understanding, but never got to speak. And are there others like that you're aware of? Were any of the other close friends that were they there because they wanted to speak out and weren't called, or do you know anything about that?
Um, yeah, well, I actually talked to her about that, and again, I have to go back to this. Um, they absolutely, they did not want someone getting on that stand talking the way that Diane was talking. Stuff that, put Robert in a light that could perhaps sway the jury, or put him in a different light that than they were painting the picture of him. If you wasn't going to get up there and paint the same picture that they were painting, they don't want you in the room. They don't want you sitting down at a canvas.
Well, I
So
can, if you don't mind, I just want to say that I can understand why the prosecution wouldn't want them in there, but I don't understand why the defense wouldn't want someone if they were, if somebody's name was brought up, or these people, they said this person was around and they're in the courtroom, for God's sakes, they couldn't be called to the defense, in his defense, or someone, uh, someone such as the god sister calling or in contact with the attorney saying she would like to speak out and doesn't get the opportunity to do that. We can't even blame the government for that.
well, see, I'm not going to be confused to think that these attorneys are not experienced enough to know um, legal rights for wrongs. I'm not gonna even think about that they don't know no better. I know that they know better, And if they didn't call people, to be witnesses, it's because they didn't want them to be witnesses, you know.
Okay, if the prosecution put on, such a, you know, I mean, it's people's opinion that the prosecution did not have to do much to get a conviction. And if the prosecution, if that's all the jury had to consider was what the prosecution had, then it sounds like there was some problems with him being properly defended in that case.
Well, that's my point exactly. Is because to me, if you're an attorney, if you're a defense attorney, your obligation to your client, it should be 100%, not 45, and the other
Hmm.
the rest of the percentage is toward the prosecution. Because, like I say, to me, that's what it looked like to me. I simply will not believe that these lawyers didn't have a better plan, didn't have a structured defense for a client as high profile as Robert is. I'll never believe that ever.
Right, right.
You know, to
Uh,
me, to me, you know, I have visions. I've had visions of when they're not talking to Robert, they talking to the prosecution.
wow,
What do we need to do? That's my visions.
wow.
Oh, and absolute wonderful actors and actresses to me. I'm
Mhm.
sorry, but that's my opinion,
Right.
and I'm entitled to it.
You
So
certainly are.
this
So,
whole
what
thing,
about
God, has just been such a wow. I've never seen nothing like it. When I got out of jail in 2020, it was in the wake of COVID. Uh, I hadn't seen Chicago in a light like this because people, places were closed down, boarded up, in the wake of all these riots and looting and all this and stuff. But what got me the most, is the things that were going on in social media. I've never seen nothing like this. People, everything, everybody got their channels and everything, everything, and everything's about Robert, my brother. You know, People that I've never met, never seen. Now all of a sudden, they're experts on Robert. You
wow?
know, uh, I know this, I know that. Send me some cash app. It just went haywire. You know, uh,
Wow.
uh, and some people, was debunking me, and I'm Robert's brother. Okay, yeah, mind you, okay, I was on surviving R. Kelly. When they came to me, Sasha, I had no idea it was going to be a witch hunt. I didn't know who else was involved, who was going to be on the show, or none of that. But
Right. I understand.
if you saw Surviving R. Kelly, you can see everything I said in there. Uh, it was nothing to their narration, their narratives. You know, my thing is, and I've been doing this since we were kids. I've been protecting my brother. No matter
Uh-huh.
what. That's what my mom taught us.
Right.
No matter what, you
Right.
protect family. That's what you do.
Hmm.
And so then when I found out that it was a witch hunt, yeah, I went back on. Yeah, I went back on there. And I went even harder in the paint for Robert. Yeah,
Hmm.
I said a lot of things they did not put on, they did not air. They would not air because it wasn't liking to their narrative, you know.
Right. Bruce, do you think it would have been to the his advantage if the defense attorneys had requested or subpoenaed the uncut version of Surviving R. Kelly, because there was other people who were saying the same thing that you said. They cut and chopped and put the music where they wanted, put the tears where they wanted, did that. So do you think would have been to the advantage, since you said the uncut version, what else you said that could have maybe helped him? Because if they set out with one narrative and were able to accomplish that by putting, fitting in, piecing things together. So if, maybe one of the strategies, I don't know, but maybe one of the strategies, or a good strategy, it would make sense to me that if people were saying that, and if the attorneys actually had talked to people who had went through the Surviving R. Kelly filming and all that, if they had, got to talk to them and they said, as you said, and I've heard other people say the same thing, that that wasn't the reason they were crying, or that was not, that wasn't all I said. They didn't let me say anything nice about him, or I did say it, but they cut it out. They obviously they had an agenda. So, do you think maybe one of the strategies could have been for the defense attorneys is that they solicited or subpoenaed or had got the judge to give them an order to see what actually was done during that filming in its, um, the complete filming, unedited version. Maybe that would have helped.
Well, that's like wishing on a star. Um, I could never see that happening. Um, And the plan from the beginning was not to the whole thing was a one-sided. It was one-sided. Other than what I had to say about Robert, you know, which is why it wasn't very good to do that because you know he didn't defend himself in there. They got no permission to do any of that, and to put out something like that on a brand such as R. Kelly is highly um, uh, questionable because we talking about infringement. Robert he's a brand. He's just not a everyday dude. He's a brand. And you don't just go around and make commercials about McDonald's. You don't go around making commercials about Kentucky Fried. Nothing like that. But you're gonna do that to Robert Kelly because you got some people who are alleging some things. A couple of actresses, and I'm being nice by saying actresses because because that's what it is. That's what it is to me because most of those girls I was around, they looked quite happy to me. You know, and the thing is, if something was going on with you that you felt highly uh, out of place or your life in danger or anything, and you can leave at any time you wanted to, you got a mental problem. You got to have a mental problem. If you can leave anytime you're ready to, and you decide to stay, it's either you got a mental problem or ain't nothing wrong.
Mm.
You know. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, good actresses. I got to give to them. They need Oscars.
uh, another talking about his friends and the non-celebrity friends. Could you speak on that? What you think about artists deserting him once his legal issues? Obviously, he's done a lot with a lot of other celebrities and music for them, wrote for them, all of the things he did, and you've been around them, obviously being with him. What is your take on that? Why they, the artist that deserted him once his legal issues started?
Well, to me, I mean, there with the exception of a few artists that I've noticed that weren't afraid to voice their opinion about Robert. I give them big ups and kudos. Uh, but there are some that and the only thing that I could take on this is that they are thinking about their own careers. That they don't want a bad light to be shown upon them. You got these organizations out here, Me Too, Time's Up, and Mute R. Kelly, and all these different women empowerment organizations and so forth. It's a lot of people. You got some big wigs, that's in those organizations and funding those organizations and got a lot of say over those organizations. And they don't want. I think they just don't want that smoke. That's the only thing that I can see because they don't want any light that sort of light to be uh, shining on them. Because they could possibly be next.
Mm.
And that's the only thing that I can see. But yeah, I do have to say you got some people out here who they got balls, and they voice their opinion regardless, and to me those people are stand up. those artists are stand up. And I don't understand how you can grow up with somebody. You can grow up with somebody. You can witness the struggle. You witness their struggle. You witness them become, from a caterpillar to a butterfly. You witness that. And then when he became a butterfly, he took you on his wings and flew you everywhere with him. And you vast in the glory of all this fortune and fame and sharing it with you. And soon as you know stuff is taken from you, or they clip your wings, you run to your safe house, and out of sight, out of mind. There's people who I simply cannot believe that has done this. I'm right there with him. I'm with him. I'm watching y'all. I'm watching these people around, enjoying life as he gave it so freely. I mean, the things Robert is a very extravagant person, and if he enjoys something, he wants you to enjoy it too. And plenty of people enjoyed a lot of great things, a lot of traveling, being put in fine 5, 6 star hotels, and backstage passes, VIP. You know what I'm saying? Nothing but the best. Now, when he needs you, just for to give him some support, you disappear. Yeah, that's really is really. Um, I simply can't believe, because these are people that I grew up with, people that I grew up with as well. We talking about, we going back 40 years, 45 years. You know, so to see these people fall off the face of the earth, but you know what? Let Robert get out. Let him get out.
Yeah.
God, I hope I don't come around. I really don't, because I got a couple of barrels I'm gonna let loose for him.
I bet. I bet.
You know. Yeah. So
Someone is asking about whether you have how many sisters, how many brothers you have, and what are their names.
well, it's 3 boys and 1 girl.
Okay.
Bruce, I'm the oldest. Robert is the middle boy. Carrie is the youngest boy, and Teresa is our older sister.
Okay.
Teresa got me by a couple of years. Okay, a couple of years. But I can assure you that Robert does not have no sisters named Lisa or Cassandra. And I'm gonna tell you something. I've been I was Robert's first road manager who took him out with public announcement. We used to fly everywhere. We used to, he didn't have a tour bus then. So every time we went on the road, you could say we went on the air, because we flew everywhere. We was running through airports like O.J. Simpson in a Hertz commercial. You know, almost every night every day we was running through the airport trying to catch our plane, because we was almost late every flight. But the point that I'm making is that since then, that was 1990 when we started touring. Since 1990, I'm talking about from the very beginning, I've been running into people who come and says they are related. They some cousins, they some long lost uncles or something, but they would candidly admit that they were just trying to get tickets because they love R. Kelly.
Okay.
But here's the lately, I've never seen nothing like this because you know I could tell anybody who has any doubt or any you know in any type of mental about who Robert's family is. I could tell you like this: Lisa and Cassandra is not Robert's sisters on his father's side. How in the world do you know who Robert's father is, but he don't?
Oh, wow.
How do you
Okay.
know who his father is, and I don't? But I know
Wow.
this. I know this. And see, it's not so much them saying that they're Robert's sisters, because, like I said, I've been coming across this all my life of traveling with Robert. People saying that they're related to him. But when you come out your mouth and you saying that my mother screwed your father, now I got a problem with that. Because I know when I was 2 years old, my mother did not leave Chicago and go out of state and meet your father and had sex with him and came back to Chicago. That didn't happen. I know my family tree better than that. I think they thought that, at the time, there was no one, there was no family being, shown around, at the time of Robert's, when his trouble started. So they thought that they could just ease their way in. But no, that's not happening. I'm not going to stand by and let people say that they, because for the sake of you trying to insert yourself into R. Kelly's life, that's not going to happen because um, I know that that's not true. Robert ain't never ever been out of town to no family reunion when he was 13, 14 years old. Our mother wouldn't let us out her sight when we was 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. Hell, I was 18 and couldn't get out her sight. So I know doggone well Robert ain't went out no town and went to no family reunion in not even Indiana. He was somewhere else, some Alabama, somewhere, wherever it was. But I know Robert ain't been there. And if he did, where was we at? Where was our mother at when this happened? Didn't happen.
Bruce, have you met the alleged sisters? Have you met them?
Yeah, I met them when at Robert's trial here in Chicago, and
Okay.
really it took everything in me not to go there with them, but I was very cordial. But I didn't want to bring any bad light to Robert and his trial, so
Sure.
I said I deal or I'll talk with them another time.
Now,
So
they have
yeah,
done some
I just
interviews. They have done some interviews on some channels, speaking out about, in defense of Robert, that I don't know that, that it necessarily, they didn't know him long, but they did some interviews, and I know that you take issue with that, with an interview where they stated that they were your brother's sister. Do you want to speak on that?
yeah. Well, of course they're gonna try to get away from me. Because we have different fathers. Me and Robert have different fathers. We came out the same womb. But you gonna try to tell me that first of all, how big of a coincidence could it be that my mother's name is Kelly and their daddy's name is Kelly? My mother only married one man. She got the name Kelly from my grandmother. My grandmother married George Kelly. That in which they had my mother named her Joanne Kelly. Now, until my mother got married, her name was Kelly. So when she had her kids, we became Kellys. We took none of our father's names. None of us. We all got Kelly's name. And they came from George Kelly. They came from our mother's father. Okay. So before my grandmother married my grandfather, her last name was Vincent. So when she married my grandfather, that made her a Kelly. And when they had my mother, that made my mother a Kelly. Then when my mother had us, we became Kellys. So my thing is this: how in the world is it such a coincidence that my mother's name is Kelly and your dad's name is Kelly? And they just when they link? My mother lives in Chicago. Their dad lives somewhere else, somewhere in Alabama or wherever it was. So they meet and what? You know, see, that's where it's all unclear. You know, that's where the debacle come in at. You know.
Okay, along those lines, I listening to you speak, do you you said at concerts and things like that that people are always showing up wanting to, move to VIP or whatever because they're your cousins, uncles, brothers, sisters, nephew. And you would have to go out and straighten that out, that that they're not who they say they are, they're not related, but they had an agenda and you understood it. Are you at all thinking that the sisters, just want to be a Kelly, just want to be related to you or your brother, your family in some way? And what would the motivation be for them to come out at a time like this and say that they are related to your family? Do you think that there's some kind of agenda? What is your feeling? I know that you're protective of him and you wanted to speak out about it. So what is your feeling? Do you think that they're after something? They're not who they say they are? What exactly could you say about that?
Well, first of all, I know that they're not who they say they are. That's a given, and that's number one. And number two, yeah, I do think they have an agenda, but they sadly mistaken. What their agenda, what they want their agenda to be, because from my understanding, they've been inquiring about certain things and stuff. They really think that they can get power of attorney over Robert's intellectual stuff. People he never met before 2018. I
Wow.
mean, what 20? Wait, yeah, before 2018. I think they met him in 2018. Never,
Wow.
they met him in 2018, but came up with this fantastic story that the last time they seen him was at a family reunion when he was like 14. But mind you,
And
Robert is older than him. He got at least 9 or 10 years on him. Let's see. Yeah, Robert 55. Yeah, so he got
you're
about
all
10 years. So if he was 14, then they had to be 4 years old, somewhere in there, something like that.
and you're also
You know,
stating that the Kelly name came from your mother. So how could they have the Kelly name for the same? Because your father's last name was not Kelly or
no,
Robert's last name.
none of
You
our
don't have
fathers
your
last.
father's. You all have your mother's last name. I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. I don't think that they even have sense enough to even think this out. They didn't even think this out. You didn't think anyone would be, a little suspicious of that? Oh, what you was gonna make somebody think that our mother married your father? No one was gonna come forward and say anything about this. Well, I'm saying something about this because it's a it's a it's a embarrassment, and it's a slap in my face to tell the world that my mother slept with your father and she didn't even know him. So I'm saying this directly to Cassandra and Lisa. I want you to stop saying that my mother slept with your father because it never happened. That never happened. And please don't say that again. Don't say that my mother slept with your father. Robert is not your brother. and whatever agenda you guys got or whatever, try to do it some other kind of way. But it's not gonna come through the Kelly family. So cut it out. I'm asking you, and I'm trying to be respectful in asking you this. Don't say that my mother slept with your dad no more, please. Yeah, so that's that. And this Levi dude, same thing. You know, I'm appealing to any of Robert's supporters and fans and his supporters. If you support Levi or Kelly, and you guys are sending him money on Robert's behalf, you guys need to stop it. Because dude is a con artist. And he's conned you guys into believing that he's kin to Robert, and he's not. He is not related to Robert. And if you're sending him money, you need to stop it. If you send anybody the money, send it to Robert. Because Levi ain't giving him a dime. So please, I'm telling you, I'm not asking you for no money. So why should somebody who's not related to Robert, and he's not related to Robert, I have no reason to lie to nobody. But dude is not Robert's cousin, and Lisa and Cassandra is not his sisters. Y'all need to move on from that. He tricked you. It was a trick. And that's what I meant by when I came home, I seen all this stuff that was going on the internet. Everybody's, got R. Kelly fever, with these different, means and ways to do things and stuff. But, to lie and say that you're related to him and you're doing things for him and you ain't doing nothing, that bothers me. That really bothers me, So yeah, where we at?
What would you?
I'm sorry, Sasha.
I'm here. Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah. Now I hear you now.
Okay, I was going to say along those lines where you were talking about that the Levi guy is definitely not family or a cousin to you, and is not in communication with your family regarding Robert or Robert's case. So would you say about these other bloggers who claim to know him or that they know him, does Robert know any of these bloggers, or do you know any of these bloggers?
I seriously doubt Robert knows those bloggers. But the thing is, see, Robert is very, sentimental when it comes to fans. So to him, if somebody says that they're a fan, then he's partial to them. He'll be partial to his fans. But they don't tell him that I'm a blogger and I'm making money off of you. They're not gonna say that. So if someone writes him and tell him that they say this, they did this on this channel and that channel or whatever, but to him that's a fan. Just like Levi is a fan, you know. He's a fan, but he makes his audience believe that he's a cousin because that's a way of him to hype them up to send him money. And shame on dude. Shame on him. You using you surviving off R. Kelly. Not you surviving off R. Kelly. You're telling lies and you're manipulating people into sending you money, and you ain't doing nothing for Robert, nothing.
So,
So
Bruce,
no,
it sounds like
I have no respect for that.
you're pretty comfortable with saying that most
It
of
sounds
what's
like
going
what?
on. It sounds like you're comfortable in taking a position that most of what's going on YouTube, most of the people out here blogging don't know them, and that you're comfortable in saying that they're making money off of your brother's downfall, and that's what's upsetting.
I'm not comfortable, but
No, you're
I'm just
comfortable
only
in saying
stating
that
what
it's
I
not.
see.
Yeah, I'm saying you're
Oh
comfortable in
yeah.
saying that it's not legitimate, that it's fraud. It's basically fraud.
Yeah, basically, I'm gonna say it like my mama used to say it. I'm gonna tell it like a TIZ. You know, I'm gonna tell it like it is because that's exactly what I see. You know, and no, I don't have no reason to be afraid of telling the truth. Truth speaks for itself. You know, so no, I'm just gonna call it how I see it, Sasha, and you know, see, I guess I don't know. Maybe if it was one of their family members, in those, if they were in my shoes, what would they do? What would they say? If their brother was in the position my brother's in, I've been around my brother all my life.
Mhm.
I watched him struggle to get to where, the world got to know him. He been dreaming about that since he was 4 or 5 years old. And he finally gets there. And then the people right up under him are the ones to take him down. Do you know how that makes me feel? And I don't know. I'm kind of cut from a different cloth because I don't I don't fall victim to people so easily. You know, my eyebrow always up. What's your angle? What are you doing? What you know?
Mhm.
So you know,
Mhm.
I used to tell Robert. I used to tell him, back in the days. I used to tell him about his own accountant. I used to tell him about Daryl McDavid. I used to tell him about him. What are you doing? Have due audited. You know,
Wow.
so because I find it really hard to believe that here we are in 2022, and when Robert first met Daryl, he was driving a Toyota Camry, a
Oh
Toyota
wow.
Camry.
Mm.
Now he has his own restaurant, lounge, club, and Robert been trying to get a business for years, and that was his accounting. How the hell did
Mm.
he lose his house for non-payment of taxes? Isn't that what accountants do? They manage the money so that your taxes can be paid, your bills can be paid, and Lord knows it was plenty of money, plenty of money. So why in the world would taxes not be paid on the house? That that sort of stuff. All those years of me telling Rob about this dude and what he having him audited and things like that, and it never happened because Robert thought that was his friend. Friendship ain't got nothing to do with business. That's only business. I used to tell him, bro, this is business. That's business, man. It's only business to have your accountant audited.
Right.
Make sure he's doing what he's supposed to do with your money. Make sure your money's right where it's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are, 2022, and all these things are, I've learned so much, and I have to say, I learned a lot of things through Don Russell. Because when I got out of jail in 2020, he and his mom contacted me when I was locked up. They wanted me to come and parole to their house, in which I did. I went and I paroled to Don Russell's house. But Don Russell has never, ever been Robert's manager. Now, as much as I can say is he was probably an advisor because he did let Robert know some things that was going on with certain contracts and with Sony and different things that Robert was under the impression of different things and stuff, and Don enlightened him and let him know that certain things were not what he expected or what he thought. So he did let him know a lot of those things. And Robert formed a trust with him, it's not, they met in the subway when Robert was, doing street performing and stuff. At that time, Don was doing street performing too. Him and his cousin were tap dancers. And they used to always want to get with Robert because Robert would always have the good spots. He would get the good spot and he would make all the money at the spot.
Mm.
And because Robert made $500-600 a day. If he went down there with his keyboard and his little glasses on, looking like Stevie Wonder, and singing "Ribbon in the Sky" and McDonald's songs, if he didn't make $500-600 a day, he didn't make a dollar. And believe me, his bag runneth over down there. And Don and his little tap dance crew, they they wanted some of that. But Robert wasn't having that. He wasn't having nobody tap dancing to his stuff. He was a lone act, you know, and he knew that. And Don knew that. And he wanted in. And mind you too, Don's a lot younger than Robert as well. So, at that time, Robert like 16, 17, what, Don, what, 16, 17, 18, Don 8 years younger than that. So what did Robert look like having somebody like Don and his little cousin tap dancing to Ribbon in the Sky? Wasn't happening. So, here, fast forward, now everybody's calling Don Roberts manager because, I mean, he did, show Robert a few things, like I said, about his contracts and some of the things. I'm not really going to get into that because, that's not everybody's business. I'm not going to put Robert's business out there like that, right? Not. But no, Don never was Robert. Don does not know enough about the business per se to be Robert's manager, you know. And even though he showed Robert some things and stuff, he had an agenda too. Everybody got an agenda, you know. And I knew the agenda existed when they wanted me to move, when they wanted me to parole to their house. I know an agenda existed. You ain't never met me a day in your life, and I'm fresh out the jump, and you want me to come parole to your house? Yeah, I I started thinking then, what these people want? What do they want? And indeed, they wanted something. Yeah, they wanted something. That I went through a bunch of stuff. I'm still dealing with that mentally. Because something happened involving my own brother, my younger brother Kerry. You know that I'm still trying to get through mentally. You know, um, and and navigate through all the rest of this turmoil, and still at the same time stay strong for my brother. Because it's a bunch of it's a bunch of stuff out here that uh if a person not careful, this could tend to drive a person crazy. So I know Robert is a very strong individual, but that's my brother, and I know him like the back of my hand. I know him like the back of my hand, and I know that he's being very very strong, but I'm appealing to a lot of you fans, who real fans and real supporters. Write my brother, y'all. Let him know that y'all still love him, because he needs that. He needs to stay strong. He needs to be strong. I need to stay strong for him. Because a lot of the stuff that's going on, y'all have. I mean, me. I'm 57 years old and I want to break down and cry. You know, because I think it's a shame as to what not only his them girls around him that he was letting live lavishly around him, but his own wife. His own wife had the king of R&B and couldn't be a queen. Couldn't be a queen, and hold down her king. Whoa. You got 3 kids by this man. You want child support, but you want to put him in jail and take away his ability to make money? What type of queen are you? And he did you so wrong, but you want to keep his name? What is just the name going to do? You got to have some talent, honey. You need some talent. Just having his name ain't going to do it. I'm rambling on now.
That's okay. That's okay.
Next question.
Uh, Someone asked a question if just to bring you out of that. Well, let's stay on that for a minute, because there are some other questions that have come in that says about if you could speak on the blogger Dana J, whether your brother knows him, and it has been said that your brother paid for his college tuition, if that is true.
Come on, really? First of all, how can someone be a mentor and you just met him? You played basketball with him a couple of times, and I'm saying like this: I cannot stand to see male groupies, male fans of another man. I mean, look, I'm telling you, I I like Prince. I like Roger. I went on tour with Roger. I'm a musician myself, and I like music, and I love musicians. But you'll never see me holding another man's nuts. I'm sorry. You know what I'm saying? I'll hold them down as a musician. A musician. I like their music. Okay, but you ain't gonna never see me jocking no man. Period. And I've seen so much of that. I would. Oh my God. We would be on tour, and we say we go to the after party or a club, or you got guys knocking women down. I mean, with their elbows knocking them out the way just to walk alongside Robert.
Wow.
And Robert be looking at me like, did you just see that? Did you just see that? Man, that
So
that amazed me right there. You know, Robert, he be looking at me like, save me from these
wow.
niggas. I mean, excuse me. But yeah.
What
So
about what about? There's a comment that said that the Levi for Kelly. Do you believe he's a super fan? He's putting profile pictures angled on his page and to appear to look like your brother. I don't know if you've seen that, but someone's asking if you feel like they are Dana J and Levi for Kelly are super fans and distractors.
You know, I would tell you like this. We did, I forget what it was. We toured, and the whole stadium was full of nothing but fans. And it was mostly white people. Everybody in there had bald head, goatee, and one of those 12 plate vests.
Wow.
We were overseas. We were overseas. But every dude in there was bald head, had a goatee, and one of those 12 plate vests that Robert wear on the album cover. So, and a lot of those people, a lot of those guys did not look like Robert. Just like Levi don't look like Robert, but somebody told him wrong. Somebody told him yeah, you look like R. Kelly. One of his boys or something must have told him that. So, he said, yeah, I could be his cousin. But, no, he got it bent. He don't look nothing like Robert, you know. And, he got it twisted. He really got it twisted. Yeah, because I seen that picture. And when I seen it, I said, that's why dude sitting up there talking about he robbed a cousin because this dude think he look like Rob. No, but no, but like I hope God in heaven knows. I hope that somebody that is supporting that dude, if y'all heard me and y'all believe me, stop supporting him. Stop sending. I mean, watch the station if you want, but stop sending the money in the name of you think you sending it to help Robert, because you're not helping Robert. You helping dude. You helping him, because he ain't helping Robert. He claimed he this and claimed he that and all that and stuff, but he a fraud. He do the fraud, con artist. That's what he owns, you know. So yeah,
Do you think when your brother is released that he will address some of these con artists?
I know Robert. No, he not. Robert gonna move on with his life. That's what he's gonna do. If people try to tell him about it, he don't want to hear it, because that's not gonna make or break him. But I know this. I know this. I'm gonna be around, and I ain't gonna have dudes try to come up in Robert's face. That's not gonna happen. You ain't no cousin. You ain't no friend. Friends don't do that. Cousins don't do that to cousins. Friends wouldn't do that to a friend, especially a friend that's in need. Robert he needs some support. And all you doing is supporting yourself off of his downfall. To me, you less than a man. You a man that's surviving off of my brother's downfall. You ain't no man. You ain't no cousin. You ain't no friend. You a con artist. And people looking at his channel need to leave that dude alone. They need to leave him alone, because everything he's telling you is a lie. He living a lie. I'm sorry. Just like Lisa and Cassandra, they living a lie. You know doggone well you're not related to Robert. You're trying to get in his pockets. You're trying to boost your career because you sing. You got to do it another way. It's not gonna work like that. It don't work like that no way. You got to have some. You got to have talent in order to get out there. Just name ain't gonna do it. You know. Yeah. So. Oh man.
Um,
I go man. Yeah.
how do you feel about the Our Level Up news channel? Can you add anything? Does she bring factual information?
The what?
I think it's Dottie. How do you feel about the information that Dottie brings from Our Level Up news channel? She's been reporting on the cases.
I really appreciate Dottie. You know,
Okay.
she has some helpful information and stuff, and you know, I haven't heard any negativity about her, and you know, she was there. You know, I couldn't even be at the trial every day because I work, but
Mhm.
I know, you know, she kept me informed, and she takes down notes like, you know, like a paralegal, you know. So, you know, if I missed something and I needed to know something, I could ask her and get a clear understanding and verification of what I need to know. So I don't have anything bad to say about Dottie. I really don't. I like Dottie, and she does a great job at what she does, you know. And so yeah, I got big ups to her.
Uh, what would you say about, well, basically, especially we were talking about Dottie with doing reporting. I know you weren't able to attend the New York trial, but after the fact, you heard what kind of went on. And what would you say the difference, the biggest difference between the New York trial and the Chicago trial was?
The biggest difference in the two trials was Jennifer Bongini. That was you know, I truly believe if Jennifer had been the head attorney in the New York trial, it would have been a different outcome. If she would have had the time, if she would have had the time like they had the time from the beginning, even given the little time that they had, if she had had the same time, I still think that the outcome would have been different because she's a different type of attorney. She takes pride in her client and doing what is needed to get an outcome for her client. You know, it's a thing in law called ethics, and she has them. You know,
Mm,
and I don't every attorney possess them. You know,
mm,
I know the attorneys that called themselves fighting for Robert in the New York trial to me lacked a lot of ethics. You know, so
mm.
and that's just my opinion, and I'm entitled to that.
Sure,
I'm
yeah.
basing that because, you know, I'm no stranger to the criminal justice system, and I'm not proud to say that. But
Mm,
by me have been through the justice system, and I've been through a few trials myself. And you know, even though I've had attorneys, I'm not one myself to just sit back and rely on them. I went to the law library. I read on cases myself, and I read the different laws about different things and stuff. So I know a little bit about the law. I'm not going to proclaim to be a jailhouse attorney or tried to be or none of that. But I know enough to know that if an attorney uses, you know, the law on their side, then you can sway the jury, or you can create another outcome with the information and the knowledge that you have of the law. And based upon just what I know, if I know this, I know those attorneys know it.
mm.
You
Good
know,
point.
so yeah, the difference would have been, I think, you know, the difference is night and day. You know, like I said, with Jennifer being an attorney, I think that we would be looking at a different outcome. But I'm just really happy to know that she is a part of the appeals process, and she's heading the appeal. You know, and that's why I can rest easy, so to speak. You know, because when it comes to thinking about the outcome of what the appeal may be, I can kind of relax on that. The only thing that's got me on edge is the fact that I know my brother is locked up, and I know what he's going through. I know that being away from music and being away from being able to create is is driving him up a wall. And I know it, you know. But like
Mm-hmm.
I said, that's where people like me, people who can, supportive fans can come in and, send them pictures and stuff like that. And I've sent them pictures of, family and my mom and memories and stuff, you know, and,
Mm-hmm.
send them things to look forward to,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah. If
I don't
you
want,
could,
I negativity, nothing negative. That's what. No, I wouldn't tell them nothing about no goofy uh, stuff like some Levi and that kind of stuff. I wouldn't even tell
of
them
course,
nothing about none of that.
yeah, people
You
should
know,
probably about that. Bruce, if you could share one story, what your favorite a favorite time with them. I do have some more questions for you, but I want the audience to hear your fondest memory of a time you spent with Robert. If you could just share a story with them, I think they would enjoy it.
well, I'll put it like this. I'm gonna tell it like this. Um, some years ago, we were touring. We toured we did a show in Kansas City, Missouri, and I met this young lady. And every time we would go to Missouri, whether it be Kansas City or St. Louis or wherever it was, she would come to the show. We would hang out, kick it, all that stuff. So she wanted to, when we would come back home in Chicago, we would, I would still be working and stuff, and she would call me often and stuff. And she told me she wanted to move here, and I told her, move here? No, no, you don't need to move here. So she got a subscription to the Sun Times, and she uh she started looking for apartments and stuff. So next thing you know, she was telling me she moving to Chicago. So she ended up moving here. She moved to Chicago. She called me over one time. She wanted me to see the place and all this and stuff. She gave me keys, told me I was on the lease and all that and stuff. And anyways, I didn't. I told her you need to go back home because I'm not going to move in with you and all this and stuff. So anyway, the girl started getting my messages and stuff. Well, I don't know how she was doing it, but she would, when people would call me and leave me messages, she knew how to get into my voicemail system to get my messages. So one time she called and she got my messages. Robert had left me a message this particular weekend and told me that we were hooping at Hoops. Hoops used to be on Randolph. So I wasn't going to be there, but she got that message that, Robert called and said, we're going to be at Hoops tonight. Come hoop. So that night she called Hoops and Robert, I wasn't there. She asked for me and I wasn't there. And then she asked if Robert was there. So Robert got on the phone. He got on the phone and she told him that she was supposed to meet me. And when she went to the restaurant to meet me, she uh, she she saw me. I was in the alley and I was dead. This is what she told Robert over the phone. Robert jumped up
Oh,
and she told him that she took me to Michael Reese Hospital. No, Mercy. She told him that she took me to Mercy Hospital. Robert ran out the gym by himself. It was in the wintertime. He had on shorts. He was sweating. Jumped in his car, left his bodyguards, everything. Went to Mercy Hospital looking for me. Want to know if I'm in the morgue or whatever. You know, so they told him no, they didn't have anybody like that here. And so he went to Michael Reese. I wasn't there. He called our family in Indiana, our uncles, our aunties, and all them and stuff. Got them all involved. You know. Now I'm gonna go back because when we were like Robert had to be like 13 years old. He had to be like 13 years old. And I came home. We were living on 63rd in Michigan with District Garden, staying on 2201. Um, and I came home one day, and Robert was he was in the bathroom crying, and I heard him in there crying. I knocked on the door. Boo, boo, boo. He he tried to straighten up like he wasn't crying. I'm like, boy, what's wrong with you? Nothing, nothing. He wouldn't open the door, so I jimmied the door open. Open up the door while he's standing there crying and started saying, "What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you?" He he started back crying again. He would start telling me that he was tired of all the kids at school that they were teasing him because he couldn't read, and it was taking a toll on him. So, me being his brother, and I didn't want to see him crying no more. I wanted him to feel better about himself. So, you know, because all Robert did, even in school, that's all he did was music. That's all. That's all he ever knew how to do. Robert ain't never had a job. He never filled out a job application. He never went to work. He never punched a clock. All he ever did was play the piano and sing. All. So he was crying about the kids teasing and all that. And I told him this. I said, listen, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. They might be laughing at you now. They might be teasing and laughing at you and all that and stuff. But one of these days, you're going to be the one laughing all the way to the bank. Because them same kids that's teasing you and making fun of you, they gonna be buying your albums and you gonna get rich and you gonna be laughing all the way to the bank. And then one of these days you gonna say, "Come on, brother, come go to the Grammys with me." Then I'm gonna go back up to the future, back up to at this gym. Anyway, after a lot of my people were looking for me, calling my phone and trying to find me and all this and stuff because they thought I was dead. And at the time, I was over an ex girlfriend's house of mine out in Forest Park. And I was there the whole weekend because, I'm working for Robert, I hardly ever get no time off. So this weekend I got 2 days off. I'm not going to play no basketball. I'm not doing nothing. I'm just going to watch some movies and sit back and chill. And that's what I did. And that the weekend got over and Monday came. A girl, she went to work and I was at her place. And one of my cousins called her and I'm still there. So I didn't answer her phone. I let it go to the voicemail. But when it went to the voicemail, I can hear this. My cousin said, okay, this is Bruce's cousin Joe. I pick it up, and when I do, he's surprised to hear my voice. And Bruce, is you? And he went on to tell me that everybody thought I was dead and this and that and all this and stuff. And I'm like, no, man, I'm very much alive, and I got a chance to experience what it was like for people to think that you've expired. So Robert was really glad to know. He was like, man, he called me, man, Bruce, come to the studio, man, come to the studio. I go to the studio. He looked at me with his bottom lip quivering. He was glad to see me, but look, about to cry. Anyway, so he was like, man, I'm glad you're good, man. Man, he grabbed me, hugged me. I'm like, man, I'm good, man. He's like, man, Bruce, man, that scared me, man. That scared me. I said, man, I'm good, bro. And then he went to tell me a story. He said, man, you remember when I was 13? You came in the bathroom and you told me the kids was gonna uh, uh, buy my album and I was gonna laugh all the way to the bank and I was really shocked because I was like, man, that was so long ago. I'm like, you remember that? And I never forgot that, man. I never forgot that. And
Hmm.
I said, yeah, I remember that. I remember that. He said, yeah. You want to go to the Grammys with me? So back then, when I told him that those kids was going to make you rich, and one of these days you're going to ask me to go to the Grammys with you. And that day that I seen him when he saw that I wasn't dead, he asked me to go to the Grammys with him. And I ended up going to the Grammys with Rob, 1997, at Radio City Music Hall in New York. On limousine, right behind his, walked the red carpet with him and everything. So yeah, that's my fondest memory. One of my fondest memories, because I have lots of them. But that's one memory I had because it made me cry to know that my brother engulfed what I said to him way back when he was 13, and it impacted him all the way to the time he went to the Grammys. That's all I got.
Wow, that's an incredible story, and only you could tell it, Bruce. Only you could tell it. Thank you for that. And I say that because I think there's a lot of people who come up with stories. They were here or there. They met him here or there. That he's probably doesn't even uh, recall seeing them, knowing them, whatever they were. Another fan. They may have been important in the moment, but yeah, I'm sure you have more stories that people would just love to hear in comparison to what's being said out here. He is a real man, real father, real brother, real son to your mother. Yeah, and these are the kind of things that needed to be said about him, instead of what was put out here by the media and people running with it. There's also a couple of other relationship questions that people have asked that, if it ain't too much, I can go into with you. I don't want to. If you need a break, Bruce, just say so. Um,
No, go ahead. I'm good. I'm good.
okay. Okay, so speaking of relationships, somebody is asking, how well do you know Lily, the god sister, and is she your god sister as well? And
Well, like this, I've been knowing Lily for 40 some years. She's been around a long time, And no, she's not my god sister, but she is my sister in Christ. Because
okay,
I know how much Robert loves Lily. I love her the same. I've been knowing her a long time. She's a very loyal, sweet person, and it's nothing I wouldn't do for her. She to me, you mess with her, it's like messing with my sister for real. So, um, and Robert loves her just as dear as I do, if not more. So she's very dear to us, and there's nothing anybody can do about that. Period.
uh-huh. Okay, and is she someone who Robert is staying in contact with, that he would put? I know he's put some thank yous out, that Lily has passed on and things like that. Are you aware of that? And can you confirm
Of
that?
course.
Okay, okay,
Yeah,
yeah,
of course. Of course. I know that. Yeah, I mean, we talk, so it's no secret, and that that gives Robert an outlet to stay in touch and to stay uh, uh, heard. It's to give somebody something to say that he knows will deliver the message the way that he says it, and not twist it around and make it their own. So
uh-huh.
she's the person,
Oh,
So that doesn't surprise me.
okay, and when she became his god sister, or her mother became uh, your brother's godmother, were you there to witness that at the time?
No, unfortunately, I wasn't because Robert had a lot of things going on, and so did I. I mean, I was working
Okay.
for him, but when I was endeavoring into things of projects and stuff on my own. So, when I had a chance to disconnect from Robert and what we were doing and stuff, because a lot of times constantly on the road. We were on the road a lot, and then so when I would come home, I would try to get with my kids and and do other little things and stuff. If I had that time, I would do it. So it took us in separate directions when we got home. Even though I was still working for him, I still had my separate directions and stuff. So he would be doing his thing, I would be doing mine, but we would get together on business and things like that. So at that time, no, I didn't. I wasn't there because they had their brother and sister God sistership ordained in the church, and I wasn't there.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay. I understand that his best friend confirmed that it was done at Salem Baptist Church. Um, that's where the
Yeah,
Baptist.
Reverend Church.
Okay. Yeah. Some other people just asked for clarification on that. And then as far as relationships, there's a question that leads back to the sisters again. I didn't think we would go back there, but a lot of people have questions about who they are, why they came out. And one of the things that you mentioned that, that they're not going to get away with something, or whatever they think they're doing. They're not going to get away with it. Are you stating that they are... wait a minute, I got to get back to this. Excuse me 1 second. Do you think that they're of the opinion of that your brother is never coming home, and that's why they would want to be involved to take something away from uh, whoever, his family, his kids, or if there was monies to be had and they could claim rights to them? That's what this person's asking. Do you think that they got involved with this whole thinking that he was never going to get out and they were going to lay claim to what he worked for?
I don't know whether they thought that he was never coming home, but I think that they thought that he was so estranged from his family and all that that no one would verify or try to contest what they're up to before them trying to get some piece of some pie, you know. So that's what I believe, you know. But Robert will be very, he'll be very respectful and just be, you know, to keep the peace, not want to um, cause any disturbance. But I know Robert knows who his family is. He knows that those girls are not his sisters. He knows that. I don't know if he want to break their heart or what, but you know, it's in court documents. That's the bottom line. There's no blood test. There's no DNA. And Robert talked to the psychologist and stuff that was appointed, just as I did, and he told them who his brothers and sister are, and they were not included. So it's in court documents and stuff. I got the documents, all those documents right here. You know, so he knows who his family is. That's why I'm
Okay.
really tripping on people. How do people think that I can get to be 57 years old and I not know my family tree? What
Right.
I mean, what did they? I was somewhere asleep. You know, why y'all try to creep in and proclaim the Kelly name? Really? People need to go somewhere and sit it down. That's what they need to do. They need to sit down and relax and get involved in your own family. That's what you need to do. Yeah. So, man. So what else new, Pussycat? I'm sorry. Uh, are you talking? Are you saying something? I don't hear
I am,
nothing.
I am talking. Can you hear me?
Now I do.
Okay. Okay. There are people who are asking if you have any comments on either if you're aware of these YouTube bloggers, Sylvia Parks and the Hollywood Next Lady. Those two people, they're asking if you know anything about either one of them or know them or your opinion about their involvement in reporting for your brother's case.
Well, I know this. Um, See, I don't spend no time on YouTube. With bloggers and stuff because I know what's going on. You know, to me, that's like you know running into a burning building. I don't want to be burned. So for me to because I had got to the point where after I'd be looking at so many different people's YouTube channels and stuff, I would be so angry that I would feel like a rut inside. So,
Uh,
in order for me not to feel like that, I just stay away from them. And if I stay away from that mess, then I don't let that mess in me to make me feel like that. And I mean, I've met Sylvia. I've met what's her name, Lexus Coop. I mean,
Hollywood.
Hollywood Next. Yeah, I met them, but I don't know them. I only know what I've heard about them, and I can't really, I can't too much get involved in what their characters are and all that stuff. I know this. Me and Silver, we had an incident because something was said on my uh, on my Facebook page one time, and I did not like it, so I blocked her. This was back in 2020. Before I had did a press conference on the 22nd of October 2020 at the Daily Plaza downtown Chicago, and Sylvia ended up coming, and she wanted to know why I blocked her and this and that and this and stuff. And see, thing is, I don't like drama. I try to avoid it at all costs. I don't have time or the mental capacity to um, to take in anybody else's drama. My brother going through enough drama as it is, and I know if people know, but if your brother going through the kind of drama that he going through, guess what? I'm going through it too. So I'm not trying to process nobody else's bull, because I'm trying to stay strong and trying to help my brother navigate through what he going through. I don't want to try to get through your bull, her bull, his bull. I won't have no energy for Robert. That's why I stayed away from um that's why I stayed away from social media for a minute. I stayed away. Now that I'm back on. Plus, I'm working on KZZL TV. I'm going to put together my own YouTube station channel or whatever, Kizzle TV, and I got I'm at my limit on my Facebook page. You know what I'm saying? But even though I post up to Facebook, I don't post nothing negative. It's not going nothing negative. If people comment anything negative, I block them. I don't want negativity. It's enough negativity going on with what's going on with my brother and trying to fight the government and what they're trying to do to him. I need
Exactly.
every ounce, every morsel of strength that I can muster to stay focused on this. Because these people, if they could have their way, they make me think they want my brother to do something to himself. But I
Right.
know him. He's strong. He much stronger than that.
Absolutely.
You know.
Yeah. Do
And
you
we
think that
and I got, huh?
I was going to say, do you think that like a lot of the things that have went on YouTube between these two bloggers, or not just two, all these YouTube bloggers, the what would you say to the subscribers that are following them? There are truly people that are under these people that are, really do want to show support, but have been sidetracked. Do you think it's too late to change their mind, or for you as the brother to ask them to stop supporting the nonsense?
Absolutely. I mean, I just, if I look at it like this, if you are a supporter and you're a fan or a supporter of Robert, then I would say stop the nonsense and start supporting him and stop supporting the people who say they support us. Even if they are supporters, I mean, support him. He the one needs it. People out here, they out here living their lives. They taking money from him. I mean, just doing what they want to do to him. You know,
Yeah.
and that is so disturbing to me. That these people got you, put you in their hands and can do what the heck they want to. You know, but
What do
yeah,
you think about
absolutely.
what do you think
What
about
I think about what?
the guy that got the charges for threatening the prosecution, the Daboski gun channel? That guy, do you see him as super fan, supporter? Do you think it's over? They're How do you feel about these things that are going on, and they have your brother's pictures attached to it? When the newspaper put out something about Sylvia slapping someone, they had your brother's picture next to hers. How do you feel about that stuff? And the guy, the Boski guy, with whatever he's going through, every time you turn around, something goes on between these bloggers, and instead of their faces being on there, or their faces on there with your brother.
That's exactly what I'm saying. That's why I do not, I don't like to too much associate myself with just any and everything, because I know that's exactly what happens. They associate it with Robert, and especially if it's a bad thing that's happening, they're gonna attach it to him, put it all on him. That's why I stayed away, because it was just so much stuff going on, and me trying to navigate through um, uh, social media is like navigating through a city of circuses, basically. So that's why I had to sit back and regroup and think about what because KZZL, that's what it's going to be about. I'm not going to have any type of negativity, nothing. I don't want to hear nothing about negative stuff. um I'll be telling a lot of stories, a lot of things and stuff that had an impact on my life, Robert's life, his kids, my kids. I mean, stories I'll take you way back, that people just didn't know existed, and I am also writing a book, Kelly Family Redemption. You know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of things that I'm going to, I cannot, I will not be involved with all these other things and stuff to take my mental off of what I'm supposed to do, what I'm doing. I don't have the
Smart,
mental capacity to process those things.
smart man.
I'm not I'm not rap that type myself.
Mhm.
Yeah, but anyway, yeah. So,
Do you know
what
someone
else?
that was also? Oh, can you hear me, Bruce?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, there's a question about Alexis Coop. Does she know Robert well? And can you speak on that?
No, no, no. I'm not going to get into all that. What difference do it make whether Robert, Alexis who is she? I mean, she's a fan. Robert don't know all his fans. He
Okay.
just don't. He don't know
Mhm.
all his fans and stuff. I don't know all his fans. I know she was at the trial. There was a lot of people, a lot of his fans at the trial. You know what I'm saying? But no, Robert don't know everybody that came to that trial. He don't. You know,
Mhm.
and a lot of people make him feel like you like you should know me. I was at your concert. You know what I mean? People been in his concert. We talking about millions and millions and millions of people. So how can he possibly remember everybody?
Wow.
That's just not gonna happen. I do the same thing. People be like, "Hey, what's up, Bruce?" I'd be like, "Hey, who are you?" I don't know. And they remember me from social. I can't possibly remember everybody. You
Right.
know, and they offended if you don't. If you don't know them, they offended.
Uh-huh.
You know.
Sure. Someone is asking, could you speak
Yeah.
on Joycelyn Savage?
What about her? What about
Anything,
Joy?
anything,
I mean,
anything you can say about Joycelyn
well,
Savage?
I mean, is Robert is he's hanging on and hanging with her, and I can't, I never ever could try to tell my brother what to do with relationships, just like he couldn't with me. We didn't even try that. Although I did, at times in the past, I did warn him about certain things and stuff, and um, in which he's going to do what he's going to do, just like me. You can give me some of this, but like they used to say, you can lead a horse in water, but you can't make them drink. So kind of that scenario. But
Okay.
I used to drive Jordan home just like everybody else. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know her. I really tried to get to know her. You know what I'm saying? Really, all I know is from after I was locked up, and then when I was released, then Joy and Ezreal, they're in the paper, they're fighting and all this and stuff. So I really ever never really got a chance to know them. You know what I'm saying? Because I didn't mingle, I didn't have no conversations with Joy or Azriel or any of that. All I know is, you know, the debacle that's going on with Azriel and her being in you know turning on Robert with the feds and all that and stuff. That's a power money move. It was a money move.
Mhm.
But she left lies all over the place and left a lot of evidence to support that, he didn't even do no trafficking, you
Mhm.
know. It's a lot of evidence to show that her mother bought tickets for her, and it was a scheme for her to to get with Robert, deceive him, and possibly have a baby. This was a plan, and they totally ignoring that.
Mhm.
But that's not going to happen in the appeals court because it's
Right.
evidence that supports what I'm saying, and they
Mhm.
totally ignored that in a New York trial.
Mhm.
And the judge, she really got a hard on for Rock, making him pay that girl. This was a
Uh,
plan from the beginning, but it ain't the kind of pay that they was looking for. So
mhm.
they thought they were gonna get rich and live happily ever after.
Mhm.
You know,
What about you? You spoke about the one, the Azrael Clary, maybe possibly wanting to get pregnant or whatever. What about the situation with the book that was written regarding Joycelyn being pregnant while your brother been incarcerated? What were your thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna
And
go
is
back
there an
to
engagement?
something, huh?
And the other question with that is there an engagement? Is he engaged to her, and was she pregnant by your brother?
Okay, my great grandmother. Her name was Fanny Jones. This is my grandmother's mother. I was really blessed to have known that type of wisdom. My great grandmother till I was 23, 24 years old. I knew my great grandmother. I'm gonna tell you a story. No, no, a long time ago, uh, my cousin. I know some people out there remember my cousin Blackie. He's in a lot of Robert videos. I Wiz, yes, the light skinned guy. We call him Blackie though. But his mother was married to a guy who was in the Navy, and he was stationed in California. And my cousin Blackie's mother was here in Chicago, and Blackie's mom got pregnant and had Blackie's brother Gerald, Jeremy, and then someone said that Stanley was Jeremy's father. My great grandmother, she said, her name was Fanny Jones. She said, if Stanley got Arlene pregnant, he must have had a mighty long Jim Swinger to get her pregnant from California, and she's in Chicago. Well, I'm going to repeat that because in order for Robert to get Joy pregnant, he would have to have a mighty long Jim Swinger to reach from the MCC to wherever she at. He locked up and she where she's at for 2 years. So how could she be pregnant? I mean, at least by Robert anyway. It's impossible. Ain't no conjugal business in the MCC. So no. When I heard that, I told whoever told me, I said, you know how ridiculous that sounds? It's ridiculous.
Right.
Now, as far as Robert uh, being engaged or anything like that, Robert ain't said nothing about no being engaged to nobody, and that's not like him to get engaged and not know the outcome of what could be. Robert is a person of knowing. He like to know things, you know, and no, I don't see that. I just don't see that. You know, him being engaged, and he don't talk like that. He don't talk like he's getting engaged or been engaged or any of that. So somebody talking about, well, she got a ring. You get a ring anywhere. I mean, come on, really? A ring? Shoot, so
Mm,
no, I mean,
okay.
um, I know these are probably adoring fans that want to know these things and stuff, but really, these sort of things are trivial to me because I mean, you know, there's more important things to touch bases on than stuff about his real personal stuff. This man fighting for his life, and really, I'm more concerned about the legal aspect and what's going on with his he got a sentencing coming up in February. Of course I'm gonna be there and I'm just trying to stay prayed up and stay prayerful that God show my brother favor. And that's the whole thing in my book right now is to stay humble, stay focused, and stay prayed up. That's the most important thing to me right now. And yeah, so that's that.
Well, it sounds like you're in a good place regarding your thoughts and staying focused. And getting staying focused on your channel, your music. I see your subscriber list is growing. Do you want to talk a little bit about what you're going to do on the Kizzle TV channel that's coming up?
Yeah, well, I just want to be really informational, and keeping people informed about what's going on with Robert. And I'm gonna do some things with, I don't want to be like everybody else. You know, I want it to be different. That's why I'm taking my time. Plus, I don't know. I had some issues when I was in jail. I was jumped on by like 9 guys, and they really did a
Mm.
good job. And I'm having some things fixed right now that they did a lot of damage to my mouth and stuff. And so I'm working with a dentistry company right now that's fixing things up for me. And I really want to be really comfortable because I'm not for the heckling and all that old kind of stuff like that. So, when I do
Sure.
what I'm going to do, I'm going to do it right, and I'm going to come full fledged with it. And so that's what I want to do. I'm gonna have fun with it. I'm gonna be informational. I want to tell some stories like I'm a bomb chef. I'll be cooking, so I'm gonna be showing some recipes and cooking some
Wow.
things and having some fun and eat and what I'm saying, have fun with the music and tell history about my family and you know that sort of thing and stuff, and then I'm a Chicago stepper, so what I'm saying, I'm gonna be introducing rug cutters, a group that I'm going to be heading up. Rug cutters is going to be a stepping group that I'm gonna try to really do it big because stepping originated here in Chicago, so it's about the music, the step, the dance, the style, the dress of the culture of stepping. And so I'm going to feature that on every week I'm going to have a segment called Rug Cutters, you know, and it's like I said, it's going to be involving music, fashion, and the dance itself. So we're gonna try to trend some new stuff going on and everything. So I'm really excited about that, and I would really try to go real hard on that. So y'all remember that rug cutters, yeah, on
Yeah,
Kizzle
I'm looking
TV though.
forward to
Yeah,
that Step-In Studio. That's what I'm looking forward to. That Step-In Studio, the Bruce Kelly Step-In Studio. That's what I would promote because I seen you. I seen you. So here, someone just sent in a fax that there's some results that they wanted to have read. That it says Robert Sylvester Kelly. This was just faxed in, fresh off the press. Robert Sylvester Kelly is 99.9% that Teresa Kelly is his sister, 99.9% that Bruce Kelly is his brother, 99.9% Carrie Kelly is his brother. Robert has one. It is also stated that Robert Kelly has one daughter, Joanne Kelly, one transgender, Jaya Kelly, and one son, Robert Kelly Jr. Would you agree with that, Bruce?
absolutely. Thanks,
Okay.
Sharon.
I don't know. All I have to is I'm just letting you
I
know
already,
what the,
know. Uh,
the results are in. The results are in. Uh, yeah. It was not. The person is
so
not.
that's
This I they did confirm here that it was not the. It was not Sharon Winbush. So you just mentioned that that was from Sharon Winbush. It was come from. Uh, it is from a report that was given, a report that's out there that is factual information. It was not from Sharon Winbush. So just to clear that up.
I mean, I have that same stuff right here. I mean, I just didn't pull
Okay,
it
so
out, but
yeah,
appreciate that, but yeah, but that's factual. I knew that though, but I have that same stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
and so it's determined that this is along the lines of this is determined that he does only have one sister. It says he only has one sister. I don't know if they had taken any kind of DNA, those sisters, or what have you with that, but that's the reason it's put out is that is confirmed that he does only have one sister, and that those are the rest of confirmed relatives that he does have. So
Well, yeah, I'm not trying to be smart, but I like knew that. So I guess that's for the listeners, I appreciate that
right.
though. That's backing me up. So yeah, so
And
that's
along
backing
those
what I'm
lines, I
saying
guess
up. So
it goes into another part that we know that uh, there are some things. Robert's circle would be small when he gets out. I'm sure you will will make sure that happens. That the circle is small and uh, that there's no way that someone would be able to get pull off the same things that have been done to him in the past. But because we know that it appears that he's let people back in and out of his life, would you say that even though the sisters have not, as long as they have done nothing to harm him, that your brother would take an approach? This is a question. That he would just be grateful for anything they did do for him positively and let it go.
but what have they done though? All
If
they've
they have
done,
done
I'm
anything.
sorry,
Okay.
they've done nothing but try uh to 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 to, to inch their way into his life under false pretenses. At that, that's not nobody good to have around.
Uh-huh.
Be 100. Say you a super fan. I want to work with you. I want to work for you, whatever. But don't come in and talk about you somebody's sister, somebody's cousin, like people stupid or something. That's what
Uh-huh.
pisses me off.
Yeah.
That seriously gets under my skin. To think that I don't know my family.
Uh-huh.
In order for them to play it off, they say, "Oh, we're not talking about we kin to you." Like I don't know, what my mother was into,
Mm-hmm.
you know, or I don't know that where my brother was when he was 13 years old. Come
Mm-hmm.
on, for real?
Mm-hmm.
That's even that's disrespectful.
Mm-hmm.
It make me feel like you think I'm some kind of dunce, or like our family is some kind of dunce, like we don't know what's going on with our people.
Exactly. Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I guess the idea is that people know that he has a forgiving heart, and I guess it's a conversation that probably between you two brothers, whether he would embrace them, just knowing they're not his biological sisters, but they, because he knows they're not. So,
yeah, yeah. Well, um,
so
Robert, yeah,
maybe that's
Robert does have a he does. But whether he has a forgiving heart or not, he's not a dummy, and he's not going to do anything rash that's going to in a situation like this. I mean, he don't know those girls, and he knows he don't know them. You
Mhm,
know, he's been
mhm.
nice to him, cordial, and all that and stuff, but there's a lot of things people will do when you're locked up. People do say a lot of things when you're locked up,
Mhm.
that uh, warrants, your comfort, you to be comfortable. You want to be comfortable when you're locked up, you know.
Sure.
So there's things that a person wouldn't normally do or say
Mm.
if he wasn't locked up. I'll tell you like
Okay.
this: if Robert wasn't locked up, them girls have been went on about their way. Because he's been to put them in their place by now. He would have been who did it. I wouldn't,
Okay.
you know.
Okay. All right. I there's
Yeah.
one. I'm only going to let them give me one more question for you here, and then I'm going to let if there's anything else that you want to add or speak to this. The one question that has been coming up, and I've kind of been saving it. It's been coming up several times. For the record, can you speak on Robert's close childhood friend Keith, and is he a true friend and loyal? Would you consider him a true and loyal friend? And how do you feel about the things that have been said about him, the rumors that were started about him? And that would be the last question I have. And
Well,
then we'll let you.
I'm put it like this. I've been knowing Keith since he was like 13, 14 years old. Me and his brother went to high school together. We played basketball together. Um, and I knew Keith's mom. I knew his youngest brother, his dad, and I was with him, through his tragedies of them, going on. And I'll put it like this: I was locked up, and Keith had been on the road with us, so many different places and stuff. I can't even count no more, But he's been there. He's been there for Robert when nobody else was, and I'm glad. I'm glad Keith is where he's at and doing the things that he's been doing for my brother because nobody else, nobody else was there. You know, when things started falling apart and people saw that Robert was locked up and you know, they kind of like fell off the face of the earth. And not only that, but it's like out of sight, out of mind to them, to a lot of people. He don't see me, then I should be out of his mind, you know. So Keith has been around a long, long time, and he's not just a good friend of Robert, but he's a good friend of mine. And I respect Keith and the things that he's been doing um, in Robert's sake. You know, so I mean, really, I care less than what a lot of people say and what they think and all that and stuff. Because people sometimes a lot of people standing outside looking in, and don't really know. They speculate, about what might be going on and this and that and all that and stuff. But I really don't care about none of that. But Keith is a good guy. He's a good guy, and I never have nothing. I would never have nothing bad to say about him. If it was something bad about Keith, God would have to come down and show me Himself. And that's just the bottom line. So no, I don't have anything bad to say about him. And Keith is a very good guy. He's a very good friend. Been a friend for a long time, 40 years going strong. Going, so um, those, he's the type of person that I love knowing and surround, you know, and that's just the bottom line. So people
Well,
can say
that's
what they
great.
want to
That's
say.
good yeah. That it
Yeah.
seems like when one rumor starts or one rumor ends, they pick up on something else. So that's good to know that you if anyone would know if there was any concerns, anything to be concerned about him. And I'm sure your brother would know if he's trusted him with so much. Um,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah, people can say what they want, but I think you just confirmed that he is loyal and a true friend, and that should be the end of it. That anyone that says otherwise is lying. Period. Point blank. Because your brother would know and would act accordingly, and hasn't. So they could stop that.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know that we talked about there's a lot of things that have went on in the chat that maybe I haven't been able to, and I'm not sure if we would get the pleasure of doing this again sometime, that you would be willing to come back out and speak and maybe address some of the other questions. I know the HN what your say is going to put um, in the chat. That he will put the email in order to contact if somebody does have something to say or would like to hear from you on another topic that maybe we can address at some other time. But we also would like to know more about your channel before you close, or if you have anything else you want to add to this, but more about your channel, where they can find you on Facebook, or how soon we can expect that the Kizzle TV channel will be live, and anything else you want to add before we close out.
Well, it's not going to be live every time that I come on, because I'll be doing videos and I'll be doing skits and musical things, and like I said, also like some of the cooking things that I do. That's not going to be live. Those are going to be things that are going to be taped. But it's going to be a very, all I can say, it's going to be a very interesting channel to come on and watch. It's going to be, it's going to be KZZLT dot V dot KZZLTV. You know what I'm saying? So that's going to be the address on YouTube to find it. So, but know that there will be Bruce Kelly's channel, and it'll be very informational about Robert, and some interesting stories, and updates about what's going on with him, and and things of that nature. So I just really want you guys to tune in. But one thing I do want to say before I close out, I just want to really put it out there to a lot of Robert's fans, because I know without Robert being who he is, that a lot of people probably wouldn't even be listening to me. Who knows? I mean, but the thing is, I have a voice, and I want to speak it, and I want to let you guys know that uh, no matter what you heard about me, or whatever, yeah, I'm a human being. I've had struggles, just like anybody else. I've had struggles, but by me being human, I'm also a God fearing, and God. Uh, um, I'm a big God believer, and I believe in God. I believe in His miracles. I believe in His word. I believe in His Son, and I believe that my Father has, put it on me, and not just me, but he put it into me to stay and be on a right path for the strength of my brother. And I know I've been in touch with a lot of people, and I know when someone is genuine and they really care about the person Robert Kelly, other than the artist R. Kelly, because there's a difference. Right now, okay, R. Kelly does the music. Robert Kelly is in jail. Robert Kelly needs your support. And all I ask is that you guys continue to support Robert. Well, if you want to call him R. Kelly, fine. I mean, I've never called him R. Kelly, because, I'll call him plain old Rob, but, stay, stay tuned into finding and keeping the love that you guys have for him, because he needs it. And I just I just love the fact, I really do. It's really phenomenal to me that I could walk through the neighborhood. I could walk in restaurants. I use it because people refuse to um, shut them out. You guys have been, phenomenal in keeping Robert's music and his spirit uplifted and alive. So that's all I gotta say. I just want to thank y'all from the bottom of my Kelly heart that you guys stay uh, uh, doing what you guys do, just loving my brother for his contribution to the music world and to the world period. You know, um, so let's just stay focused and focus on supporting him and not people, not fake people who pretending to be things that they're not. That's all I got to say, y'all. I appreciate y'all giving me the opportunity to to speak and to let a lot of things off my chest because you guys have no idea, but I feel so much lighter right now. I haven't talked about anything since this really started. I mean, well, back in 2020, I did the press conference, but I've been kind of just chilling out because of other situations or whatever. But it feels really good to speak on some things and stuff and let things off my chest and you know and I don't want to I don't want nobody to get anything twisted. I do not dislike anybody. I don't dislike nobody. I just dislike situations. I don't like people. My mother's gone. She's gone. And for people to be saying stuff about my mom, that's a touchy subject to me. That's really, really touchy to me. So yeah, I gotta address some things. But other than that, I try to keep a good spirit. I try to stay focused. I try to stay positive. And I'm gonna not try, but I'm gonna be. I'm not gonna let anybody, nothing, nobody take me from that positive nature that I have, and because I need to stay positive to get to where I'm trying to go. And so with that, I'm going to end it. And thank y'all for having me. I appreciate y'all HN News.
Bruce, don't take off that. Don't take off yet. I got just a couple other things to add. Um, is let's see. Let me see. And do you think that Robert will rename his brand from R. Kelly to anything else when he comes home?
He's going to have to.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's going to have to because just like Prince couldn't use Prince, Robert's not going to be able to use R. Kelly because Sony owns that. So
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised if he go with ROB or Rock, you know.
Okay. Okay.
But it don't matter who he calls himself. If it's him, the world gonna accept him with whatever name he calls himself because his voice and his talent is still gonna be the same, or maybe
Right.
a tad bit enhanced because he gonna snap. Simple and plain, he gonna snap.
uh, Someone wanted to reiterate that you have confirmed that some things that I know that you have wanted to get off your chest about things that have went on with YouTube, that you're confirming that Levi and Dana are super fans or imposters, possibly informants. Don was an opportunist. The sisters are an opportunist. Uh, Larry, the Grown Boy Show, is an informant. The Sylvia Parks is a fraud and a clout chaser. And then there's another opportunist, Hollywood Next. And somebody is just asking if that could be, uh, if that's what you're confirming. If you could confirm those things, that those people are not associated with your brother whatsoever.
Well, actually, to me, they're associated with him in association with them sales because when people see opportunity to make money, it I see that it really doesn't matter who you are as long as there's an opportunity for them to make money, then that's what they go for. I can't really see the caring that of the person that's locked up. Because people are taking that opportunity to cash in.
Sure.
I mean, good God Almighty, I'm his brother, and I'm not. I ain't went there.
Well,
Not
it has been said.
not in not
Sure, you
you
could have, and
know,
you're not. You're
but
not even out here trying to make money off of his name, and you're his brother. You haven't done interviews and come on and had a YouTube channel and had a, send $1 with your Cash App up there, which you could have done. So yeah, it speaks volumes that, if anyone could have, should have, or would have did it, if anyone, it would have been somebody who was close enough to know him, because it has been said by several people that you, and I think your brother possibly had said it, that you know him better than he knows himself.
yeah, well,
I don't know if
I
that means
mean,
something to you, but that's been said. So
yeah, it is what it is. Robert knows me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and I know him pretty well. So I mean, but that's because we grew up together. We was in the same house
sure,
together. Sometimes we wore the same
sure,
drawers. I mean, so
yeah,
you know,
that, that
but
that's something. And there's a
yeah,
message that comes through that says, "Robert loves you, big bro."
yeah, I love Rob too. I love him too. So
I know you do. I know you do.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah, we appreciate that you came on, and that that you have not wished to gain anything from doing interviews or speaking out. But we know that you'll keep debunking all the lies and standing up for your brother, your mother, uh, your sister, your family, and what's right. So we appreciate you. Um,
More, more,
well, we appreciate you. And there's a lot of people in the comments that I haven't had a chance to watch, because I was getting bombarded with messages, but we will look through every one of them, and if there's a way we can get answers to you, or we come back on here, we certainly will do that. So I appreciate all the comments in the chat and the respect that was shown for Bruce. We sure appreciate Bruce coming on here and speaking out for his brother. It took courage, it takes bravery, and he's really, really, really a good sport with a great positive attitude. We love you, Bruce.